Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here and welcome to part 3 of Building a Christmas Village series. In this video we're going to be building 2 buildings, a candy cane cafe and a Christmas flower shop. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the other parts in this series where we create some other builds and plan out our village. And let's take a look at what we're creating today. The first shop we're going to be working on today is a candy cane cafe, and you can see it here on the corner of my village. Now for this build, you can imagine sitting inside with a lovely cozy hot chocolate, and we've pulled in lots of candy cane elements with the red mangrove wood, we've got a red and white striped canopy, and we've used some target blocks for decoration for that candy cane stripe. This build has 2 spacious stories, which means when it comes time to decorate, we can have our shop and cafe downstairs and a living quarters upstairs. Alright, let's go have a look at the other build we're creating today. I'm going to turn around and walk down the road past our other buildings towards our flower shop. You can see it over here on the right. You can see we have a lovely greenhouse where all of the flowers can grow in the snow. And this would be the perfect place to buy your Christmas trees and your poinsettias for the holidays. Like our candy cane cafe, this shop has a story upstairs for our living quarters, and it has a spacious bay window where we can display all of our flower products. Okay, let's get working on our first build. The materials you'll need for the candy cane cafe are in your screen now. Keep in mind that you're going to need a few extra of the roofing blocks, so in this case we have the deep slate material. That's because we're going to be breaking into the finished roof and replacing it with snow, and this counted list includes the snow blocks instead. Here is the outline for our cafe. You can see that it's pretty much a 7 by 15 rectangle with a section marked out there in the front for our bay window and a gap for our door. We're going to start our build with some stripped mangrove logs to create posts. We're going to build up 5 high, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each corner to start off. I've got 2 more posts to go in here, so you can see that there's a 1 block gap between this bay window and this post, and we're going to replicate that on this side. So that's here, and we can have that on the back side as well. So for counting, you should have a 5 block gap between these 2 posts. Next, I'm going to place in just a couple of bricks over here at the back, and then we're going to go all the way around the outline with some cut sandstone blocks. Making sure we leave a 1 block gap here for our door. Next, I'm going to take a few more bricks and we're going to build this up to the same height as the post. Like that. We're going to add in our window locations now. On this back wall, and let's look from the outside here, I'm going to count 1 block over from this post and add in a 2 high gap. On this wall, we're placing 1 in the center, so that's 2 from either side. Again in the center here, just like this. We've got a window on this side as well, so that's going to be going in just here like that. We've got our doorway. I'm going to put in some placeholder blocks. And another window on this side. Then we're going to go ahead and place a target block on top of each of these. And we can fill in the rest of these walls, leaving out our bay window with some birch planks. Just going right over the top of the window and the target block. Those walls are all filled in now, so let's work on this wall here. I'm going to start by building up 2 high all the way around this bay window with some glass blocks. Just like that. Now on these 2 sides, I'm going to add in birch planks, and then I'm going to take target blocks and go all the way across the top like this. We're going to grab some more stripped mangrove logs now, and we're going to place 1 on top of each of the posts we already have. I'm then going to take a few more, and we're going to create a beam just joining between these 2 sets of posts. So 1 there, and we're leaving the rest of the gaps free. I'm also going to go ahead and replace the temporary blocks in the windows with some glass panes. And I'll be coming back to do the door later, but I will go ahead and remove those temporary blocks. These 4 sections where we don't have the beams are where we're going to have gables, so let's add those in, starting with the 2 here. I'm going to go all the way across using some birch planks, then I'm going to add in a temporary block where I'm adding my window, and then we're just going to create a point going up around that. Just like this. And let's do this on the back side as well. There we go. Now onto these 2 gables. These are a bit larger. We'll start the same way going across the bottom. Then I'm going to add in 2 blocks for our window and a target above that. We're going to go up in groups of 2 here. So we've got our first group of 2, then another group of 2, and this is going to go over the window, and another group of 2 above that, and again on the other side. Now that we've got all of those shapes marked in, let's remove these temporary blocks and place in our glass. Before we continue our work outside of the build here, we're going to head inside for a minute and work on this fireplace. I'm going to start by removing these blocks and replacing them with some smooth stone blocks. For the fireplace itself, we're adding bricks on either side, then 2 brick stairs and a slab in the center. And I'm placing 1 more stair on top of that. And let's place in our campfire. I'm going to place buttons, mangrove on either side, and I'm placing an iron trapdoor in front. I'm then going to need to dig underneath here, and I'm placing in a lever which I'll then flip to flip that up for the fire guard. Now for the rest of the floor on this story, we're going to fill it in with some spruce planks, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm also going to fill underneath this doorway here. With all that flooring in, let's work on the next story. I'm going to take some stripped mangrove logs first and create a beam coming across here. You can see it's 1 lower than the top of here. I'm also going to be having 1 go across this way. And you can see that it is centered along these shorter walls. I'm going to add a ladder beside the doorway going right up to the top, and then I'll fill in the rest of the gaps using some spruce slabs. And this will create a lovely beamed effect below. This story is in now, so let's work on our chimney. So I'm coming down to the base of the chimney first. I'm going to be building up 5 high on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just using some bricks. Over to this side, I'm going to place in 2 blocks, and I'm placing a block coming forward and a block to the side. I'm going to go in with a couple of stairs next, as well as 1 placed upside down here. And then we've got some walls. 1 here, and 1 here. The next part of the chimney is the section that sticks out of the roof. So I'm going to start by coming to where we've got this block here on top of the mangrove log and placing in 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to have another 2 going towards the back, just like this. I'm going in with a few more stairs. We've got 2 placed to create a curved shape here, and then 1 here as well. And on top of that, we're going to have another block and another stair. I'm going to come around to this side of the chimney now, and starting on this block, I'm going to count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should bring me to the same height as this stair. I'll place another stair on top of here, and coming back around to this side, I'm going to place 1 upside down to create this curve. We'll add another brick on top of here and another stair coming this way. So we've got our 2 curves, and this is where our first campfire is going to go. So let's add that in, and I'm going to be surrounding 3 sides of it with some spruce trapdoors like this. I'm going to come around to the back of the chimney for the next section. I'm going to start by placing a brick onto this stair here and then another 2 below it. So it sits like this. Then we're going to have an upright stair on top of that. We've got a brick going in here and an upside down stair on top of here. We've got another stair facing this way, a block here, and 2 blocks on top of here. We're going to go in with our other 2 campfires next, and we'll surround all of the visible sides with some more trapdoors. The last thing we need to add to this chimney are some walls, so I'm going to come down to the base and starting here I'll add in 2 and then another 2 sticking up above it. So here's how the chimney should look. Now if your chimney doesn't look exactly the same as mine, that's alright. You just want to have your campfires placed at staggered heights like this, getting taller at the top there. I'm going to come back down to the base of the build next for the next detail. I'm going to be adding some stripped mangrove logs coming out from these posts all the way around the build like this. You can see they're one below the height of these tall posts. And then I'm going to go in with some mangrove stairs coming off of either side of each of these little beams. And then to connect them up, we've just got a few mangrove slabs. While I'm down here by this shop window, we're going to be adding in a few deep slate tiles just across the top there. And we're going to go in with a stair on either side, here and here, and then some slabs across the front. We're going to be working on the rest of the roof now, and we've got 2 different height gables joining into one another here, so we're going to have to work slowly section by section, just following along the shape created here. So I'm going to place my first stair here, and then we're going to wrap it around and make my way over this way, and I'm just extending one past the edge. Then for the next layer, we're going to be having tiles here, just going along like this. And we're going to be needing to join up to another layer of stairs, so we'll place in a tile block and then a stair here to continue this gable shape. For the next layer, we're going to be just using stairs, so we're going to create a curve like this. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way up to the top of the roof. So next we have some tiles. And I'm going to go right behind here and add in our stairs. For this next layer, we're going to be having slabs at the very top, so we'll place in our slabs, and that is just going to go 2 in like this, and then we're going to have our stairs coming behind here. Now that we've done this much of the roof, let's move over and do this side. For this side, we're going to start by placing in a deep slate tile block in here. Now this next layer requires some blocks here and then some stairs on this side, so we'll go in with that. Then we've got a layer of stairs. We've got a layer of blocks next, and a few stairs for here. And you can see that we've connected everything up, and I can add in the last few stairs for this layer. We'll go in with our next layer of deep slate tile blocks, and this one's just going to go all the way across, and then stairs on top of that again. Now for the very top layer of this build, I'm going to be having a layer of blocks first, like that, and then a layer of slabs on top of that. So here's how the front of the roof is looking so far. We're going to follow this same technique of just bridging the 2 gables together on the back side, but we need to be aware of our chimney and we'll just work around that. So let's start by placing in our first row of stairs, and I'm just going right underneath the chimney. And we're going to curve around for this block here. Then we've got a layer of blocks, and again I'm just going to skip over where the chimney is and add in our stair here. Here's where we need to go in with our 2 slabs for this layer, and I'll place in my stair behind here, and let's work on this corner. I'm filling in the very last section of this roof now, and that's the part behind the chimney. So we've got to make sure we have these deep slate tiles coming right underneath the bricks. And then we're just placing the stairs around here. And make sure you get back in this corner to fill in this gap. So here is how the back of the roof should look. Now we're going to work on the edges to make them look a bit nicer. We're going to come underneath and add in a few stairs like this. Seeing how the middle one is facing forward. And then on the larger gables, we'll add in a few stairs as well. We're also going to be using some of the polished deep slate here just to define the edge of the roof. So once we've got these last stairs in, we can work on that. Almost there, and there we go. So we're going to need polished deep slate and polished deep slate stairs, and we're just placing these along the edge. But we're going to be placing stairs first all the way up, and you can see how I'm placing them underneath like this. So it has the look of a block from this side, but it's a bit thinner when you're looking from the edge to give that edging effect. So we've got our upside down stair, our right way up stair, and coming up this side we'll do the same thing. When we get to the very top, we're going to switch to our blocks and just have 2 at the very top like that. So this other side is going to be exactly the same. You can either zigzag back and forth or add in all of your upright stairs and then all of your upside down stairs, whatever process works best for you. And then we've got our blocks at the top. Now for the 2 smaller gables, we're just going in with stairs. These are going all the way up to the top, and then on this block here, we're just going to have a block. So it'll end up looking like this. I've just got to do that on the other side of the roof now, and we'll be finished with the main part of the roof. After we've got this in, we're going to start adding in a little bit of snow, and don't forget we've got all of the details of the build. And there's this side done. Jumping into the snow now, we'll need snow blocks and snow pieces. I'm going to just start by placing in a few blocks in some kind of random formations around the roof. I like to have them clustered a lot around the chimney, as that is where snow would naturally gather. And then I'll have some other drifts on the joins between the 2 gables and along the top of the roof. Now your snowdrifts don't have to be exactly the same as mine, and that's the wonderful thing about this, is you're just going for a natural look. Okay, so there's that bit done. Let's go over here and add in some snow. I like to have just a little bit peeking over the edge sometimes. That way you can see the snowdrifts from the side of the roof. And I'm going to have some in the corner joins here. You might find, like I had there, that a stair when you break it in the corner is going to come wrapping back around. Let me see if I can get it to do it. Like this. It depends on which direction you placed this corner block in. So you might need to break it and replace it in the other direction by turning around. Okay, let's come back to this side, and I think I'm happy with that snowdrift. Maybe we'll add in one more here, and I might add a little bit in the corner. Just like that. Alright, I'm pretty happy with this. I might add a bit more up the top, but we'll see from the front. Then I'll go in with my snow pieces, and this is where we're going to add a lot more dimension. So you just want to pile it up around the corners like this, having nice swooping slopes. I'm just coming in with the last bits of snow here on the front of the roof. You can see I've created my lovely snowdrifts, and I'm just adding the dimension to them. A few pieces of snow over here to go. And I think that looks lovely and snowy. Now let's start adding in some decorations to these windows and doors. We're going to start on these 2 high windows on the lower story. We're going to create a little window frame at the base with a brick stair and 2 slabs. And then we're going to create an archway over the top. And you can see that bit of candy cane target block sticking through. I'm also going to add in some mangrove trapdoors for a window shutter and a pot, and I'll put in some flowers later. Let's go ahead and do this on all the sides. I'll come back to this one when Mr. Watering Trader is not there. Oh, he seems to have come round here this time. I think it might be playing a game of chasey. One thing I'm going to be certain of is I don't want to have my mangrove trapdoors sitting right next to this mangrove post. So I'll make sure I put this mangrove trapdoor over this side. And we're only putting one on this one, so I'm going to put them on this side as well. And let's go back round to these two, add in our pots, and we've got one more to go on this layer. There we go. While we're down here, let's add in the decoration for our door. We're going to have a couple of decorated pots, so you could have a design on these. We've got some brick walls and we're creating an archway like over the top of our windows. Just like this. Onto the decorations on our other windows, we have these small ones in the gables next. For this, we're just going to have our stair and 2 slabs at the base. We're going to have a trapdoor off to one side and a flower pot. And we're going to be using the same decoration as on the lower story for these top story windows in the large gables. Now these stairs can be a bit tricky to place, so you just want to get into a position where you can click on the bottom corner of the block we're placing it on. There we go, add in our trapdoors next, and our pot. And over to the other side, one more window to go. I've come to the front of the build now and we're going to work on this shop window. I'm just adding some brick slabs around the base and then I'm going to go in with some end rods. We have one on each side and one in the center. There we are. Let's work on the canopy over the doorway next. I'll add the door in first. Then I've got red and white wool. I'm going to start on this block here and build out 2 in each color, alternating back and forth till we have a rectangle that's 5 wide like this. I'm then going to have a layer coming down like this, just 1 wide. There we go, and we can add in our post next. So I'll add in 2 mangrove fences from either side and a decorated pot at the base, just like this. I'm going to go in with some more mangrove here. We've got stairs at the top and bottom of each post and then some mangrove fences in between. And once we've got these in, we've got to add in our final decorations. I'm just adding in the last detail now. I'm using a temporary block off to one side, that way I can add in my mangrove hanging sign with Candy Cane Cafe. And our cafe is complete. A few extra details I added included adding some snow on top of here to tie in with the rest of the snow-capped roof. I've added in all of my pot plants and I've added in a few lanterns, so I have one underneath each gable just to provide a bit of illumination, and I have one underneath the canopy as well. So now that we've got our beautiful Candy Cane Cafe in place, let's move over to our next build. Now before we get started, I like to choose out a spot in the village for my flower shop that's near the edge. That way you could have a Christmas tree farm behind it. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind it's always helpful to have a few extra of each supply on hand. Here are the dimensions of our flower shop. You can see the main shop there to the left and then a small greenhouse off towards the right. We're going to start off this build by adding in some posts. I'm going to start on this left hand side front corner, building up 6 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll then count 3 over, 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th block, so there's a 3 block gap, we're going to add in another. We have one on this corner next. I'll count 3, so that'll take me to this block here, and I'll add another, and then on the corner again. Then let's come over to the side. We're going to have another one in the center, on the end, and then I'm going to line up the back post with the one at the front there, so it's 3 blocks over, and add in that. And we've got to make sure we've got them all 6 blocks high. There we go. Then I'm going to take some mossy stone brick, and I'm going to start coming around this outline. I'm going to skip over where we've got our small greenhouse. When we get to this window, I'm just going to leave out these 2 corners. So here and here we're going to leave free, and instead we're going to add in a strip spruce log. And don't forget to leave out your gaps for the doorways. Next we're going to take some more strip spruce logs and just connect all of these posts up. You can see I'm going straight over the top of where we have that window. And there we go, we should be left with a nice rectangle. Then I'm going to grab some temporary blocks. I've just got green wool. I'm going to mark in where we've got our doors, so one leading into the greenhouse and one at the front. Then we're going to mark in our windows. So I'm going to just leave this whole panel free so we can skip over that. Then on this side we have a 2-high window in each center of the panel. At the back we have a 2-high window in the center of the panel, and then on this wall we have 2 windows, one here and one here, so there's a 3-block gap between them. For the walls we'll be using a mixture of white concrete powder, white wool and calcite, so I can just go ahead and fill these walls in now. We're just aiming for a textured look, so it's up to you how much of each supply you use. And don't forget, you can always take a step back, check you like the distribution, and you can always make some changes. So there's one wall panel. Let's move on to this next one, and we're just doing the same process. I'm going to fill in all of these wall panels now, except for this one here where we have our shop window. So you can see I've got all of these walls in now with their textures added, and we're going to start working on the next story. So I'm going to grab out a few more of these strip spruce logs. I'm going to place myself in the middle and add an extra 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And over on this side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here are our 2 posts, and we're going to be creating gables off of that. I'm going to start by placing in the windows, so these are sitting up against this post and they're 2 high and 1 above this beam. Then for the actual shape of the gable, we're going to go in with our calcite, our white wool and our white concrete powder, going up in layers of 2 like this. So the next layer will be 1 block high and then 2 blocks high and so forth. And once again, we need to make sure we're texturizing as we go. You could always build this out of one material and then come back in with the texture later if you'd like. So you'll end up with 2, 2, 2, and then the post will make up the final 2, and then we'll come onto this side and do just the same thing. Just like that. Let's do this on the other side of the build now. Those are in, and we're also going to add a gable on top of this 3-wide panel and this 3-wide panel at the back. I'll start by placing in my window location, so that's 1 block above and in the center. Then I'll just take my blocks and we're going up in layers of 2 again, so there's our first layer of 2 and then 1 more after this, like that, and we'll add in the other side as well. There we go. Now over to the other side of the build, we'll do the same thing. You can see how I'm making sure that each panel that I create has a different texture to the next. If I copied the texture that I've got on one over to the next panel, it's not going to look as random. Let's see, we'll finish with a wool for this one. Before we start adding on the roof and working on the rest of this build, I'm going to come inside here and work on the flooring. So I'm going to be using some stripped dark oak logs for the flooring on this lower level. So once I've dug it out like this, I'm going to be going in with these logs, just placing them along to create large floorboards. You can see how it has a really large plank look. Now that those are in, I'm going to place in a few torches so we don't have mobs down here, and I'm going to grab some more stripped spruce logs. I'm going to have one coming between these 2 posts. Then I'm going to count 3 blocks over, 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th block, which should be in between these 2 windows, I'm going to add in another beam. I'll also have one running long ways down the build. I'm going to add a ladder in next. I'm going to put mine next to the door, but where you place it is up to you. And then I'll go ahead and fill in each of these panels with some spruce slabs. Both of our floors are in, let's work on this shop window. I'm going to go in with some glass first, and we're placing it on these 5 blocks and we're making it too high. Just like this. Then I'm going to take some lime terracotta, some red terracotta and some mushroom blocks. We've got a mushroom block in the center. Then I'm going to place in a couple of lime terracotta so they face in towards the middle, and make sure we're using the glazed stuff here with the pretty pattern. And then we've got some red terracotta on this side. Now the red terracotta pattern doesn't have a symmetrical look, so I'm just going to muddle around with them until I get a look that I'm happy with, and I think those 2 swirls are nice. Next we need to fill in the wall around here, so we've got our 3 white blocks and I'm just going to start placing these in. Now one thing I need to do is make sure I only use the calcite and white wool along the top edge, because otherwise those blocks are going to fall down. But I can use the white concrete powder on the sides. So our wall should look like this from the front. Now before we get working on this roof, we're going to come to the back of the build and add in our first chimney. So I'm going to come to this post here, and beside it I'm going to build up 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4 with some mossy stone bricks. And I'm doing this 2 blocks across. I'm also going to add an additional block here. Then I'll come behind this block and I'm going to build up another 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to place 3 mossy stone brick walls in front of that. I'm also going to be coming behind here. Where we've got this block, I'm going to build up 5 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're ending up 1 above. I'll place in a couple of stairs, 1 upside down and 1 right way up, and a block on top of that where I'll add my first campfire. And I'm going to surround these 3 sides with some spruce trapdoors, like this. Next, I'm going to be placing in a temporary block off to one side, and then adding an upside down mossy stone brick stair behind this campfire. On top of this, we're going to add in a chiseled stone brick and another mossy stone brick stair. And then we're going to count 4 blocks up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and add our campfire on top of here. And this one we're surrounding completely with trapdoors. We have 1 last chimney post to add in. We're going to place it in here. First, I'm going to go in with a stair. Then we have a block, and we have another stair in here, this time facing out to this side. We're going to have a block on top of here, and then we'll have our campfire and surround with trapdoors. So here is our very first chimney, and we're going to have another one on the other side of the build. Before we move over to that chimney, I have 3 more walls to add in. They're just going in front of here. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay, let's come around to the front of the build now. Our next chimney is going to go about here, so we've got to find this post and then come to the block beside it. I'm going to start by building a 2x2 square out of temporary blocks. Then I'm going to place 2 walls on the side of the block that's furthest away from these gables and closest to our other chimney. I'm going to add a chisel stone brick on the top of that and a stair on top and below, just like this. Then we're going to come behind and add in 5 blocks going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it sits 2 above, and we're going to have 2 walls coming from here as well. Let's come around to this next side, and I'm going to build up 3 high. I'll add in 2 stairs. Then I'm going to add a block on top of here, and I've got 2 stairs facing the other direction. So it'll look like this. I'm going to add 2 blocks on top of this stair, and then we've got campfires on these 2 blocks, which I'll surround with trapdoors. By placing in the chimneys first, it'll make it a lot easier to add in our roof. And I can also go ahead and remove all of our temporary blocks, as we're going to be adding in windows soon. Now we're going to start working on our roof. We're using nether brick for this, and I'm going to start down here in the shop window. I'm just placing slabs around these 2 layers, and then I'll place in 3 blocks at the top to create a nice smooth shape. Now for the main roof, we're just going to be following the shape created by these gables. So our first layer is a layer of stairs, and these are going to go along here, and I'm going to stop when I get to this edge and add in 2 of these beams. And in fact, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and do this on all of these joins. I'm leaving out this one here and this one here because that's where the roof is going to go in front of. So I'm adding in these stairs going across this side. On this corner we're going to add in a nether brick and we'll work on the next layer. So that's going to be a layer of blocks. I'm also going to make sure that this stair gets rotated so that we cannot see that spruce there. And our next layer is stairs. So you can see how I'm going to be alternating between these two types of blocks till I get to the top. So we've got our bricks. And we're just going to work around the chimney as if it wasn't even there. When we get to this layer with the smaller gable, we're just going to have a layer of blocks on the top. And this will connect up nicely with the layer of blocks behind. And I'm going right behind the chimney. You can also notice that I'm just having a 1 block overhang here. And let's complete the rest of this roof just reaching up to the top. The top layer is going to be a layer of blocks and then a layer of slabs on top of that. So here's how the front of the roof is looking. Let's go and do the same thing on the back. It's done in basically the same way, except the chimney is in a different location, so we just have to watch out for that. I'm working my way up this roof, but I wanted to jump back in and show how for this layer, where we're working with our blocks, we want to make sure we come right underneath the chimney. Just like this. Then we can continue on as normal with our stairs on top. And this next layer is just going to go right behind and will connect up to the top of the small gable roof. We're almost finished the roof and there we go. Next we're going to come underneath and work on this section. I'm going to be having 2 logs sticking out from underneath each gable. We're going to be hanging some lanterns off of these later. Then I'm going to grab some nether brick stairs and I'm placing these upside down in between each of the joins in the layers of the roof. You can see how this gives it a much cleaner look. It's time to start adding in some details, but let's have a look at what we've got so far. The shape is really coming together now, and we can start making it look fabulous. For our next detail, I'm going to grab some barrels and I'm going to place 2 on each corner. I'm also going to place one on this post here, and this post here as well. I'm going to be leaving out the post in here because that'll end up inside the greenhouse. On top of each, I'm going to add a nether brick wall and a nether brick fence. I'm also going to take some spruce slabs and place them along the joins on the outside of the build between these posts. And while I'm on this side here, I'm going to add in a barrel with a wall, making sure my barrel is facing upright like this, and then some fences going all the way up to the top. And we'll do this on the other side as well. Barrel, wall, and fences. Now for the windows on this layer, we're going to be adding in some spruce trapdoors along the base like this, and we've got some flower pots. I'm also going to go in with a couple of oak trapdoors to make some window shutters. For the windows on the smaller gable, we'll just have a spruce trapdoor and a flower pot. And I'm also going to pop in some glass panes while I'm at it. All of the windows on this build are just getting some plain glass panes. And I'm going to add in these ones as well. Now onto the lower story windows. We're just going to be having a spruce trapdoor in the center with a flower pot, and then we've got some oak trapdoors on either side. And don't forget to add your glass in as well. So I've finished adding those to each window. While I'm around here at the front, I'm going to add in a block of the dark oak plank here. Then I'm going to add a window decoration with a couple of pots, with some pots inside the decorated pots. We've got a spruce door, and then I'm just using a few trapdoors to decorate. So you can see that I've placed this one on the block above and then these two below to create a slight arch shape. Now over here to the shop window, we're going to add in a few trapdoors. These three I'm leaving flipped up so I can have some flower pots. And we've got fences on either side. Just like this. I'm just going to add my door around here by the greenhouse with a block and the spruce door, and then we're going to work on some canopies above the windows. So each window is going to get a spruce fence gate placed above the trapdoor window shutters. So there's two for each window, making sure they're facing outwards like this. Then we're going to have lime wool for the first stripe, red wool for the next, and lime for the final stripe. And we'll just do this on all of our canopies. And they look super cute over the top of the windows. While we're adding canopies, let's add one above the doorway. I'm going to be adding a spruce fence gate here and here, so that's one block below the top of these posts. I'm going to start with red this time and build out two blocks, then green, and red again. And then I'm going to come down one lower for this next layer. I'm also going to add in a few spruce fences, making sure that they line up with the ends of the canopy, and we're ready to get working on the greenhouse. To create our greenhouse, we're going to first start by breaking out this whole area. So it's basically a 5x5 square, and I'm clearing out the edges and the sides here, as well as a 3 wide section on the end, so it creates a curve shape. We're then going to take some mossy stone bricks and just go around the edge. And I'm then filling in the center with moss blocks. The reason I'm doing this is so it looks lush and green even in a winter biome. Then we're going to take some glass and build 2 high all the way around. And I'm also going to add one extra block on top of these 3 here, 1 extra block on top of these 3 on the other side, and 1 in the center. Next, we're going to take some spruce stairs and we're placing these on each corner like this and on this side. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and place a slab in these 4 corners. So there shouldn't be any gaps in here. I'm going to then place a stair on top of these center blocks. And we've got a trapdoor on either side of these stairs. Going in with some glass next, we're just going to go and create a little kind of oval shaped border with the 3 in the middle empty, just like that. And we're going to add a slab on top of these 2 in the center, coming off of each of these stairs, and then we've got a slab connecting all of these trapdoors. So we've got a nice domed shape, and we need to add some decorations to the edges. We're going to start off simply with a couple of spruce fences, 2 in this corner and 2 in this corner. Now for the front and the back, we're going to go in with some upside down spruce stairs, 1 here and 1 here, like this, and we've got a spruce trapdoor to create a little archway. We're going to have a few more trapdoors. They're going to be placed here and on the other side as well, and see how they're sitting on the outside of this block. I could place trapdoors in here as well, and you can see that those are sitting on the inside, so make sure they're on the outside like this. That gives it a more rounded shape. I'm also going to go ahead and place in 3 fences. Now that we've got this in, let's go ahead and add this on the other side. So starting with our stairs, then our trapdoors. And finishing with our spruce fences. And this rounds off the shape of the whole greenhouse. Some more decorations we're going to add to this build include some lighting, so let's hang some lanterns. I'm going to have these hanging about 2 chains down. And then I think on the shorter gables, we'll hang them directly off of these logs. That way we're not obstructing the view of the window. I'm also going to take some spruce leaves and create some small garlands. I'm going to be decorating these with some item frames and then some colourful Christmassy themed blocks. Just like that. I'm also going to add one underneath here for a little wreath, and let's add a lantern in too, maybe one on each side. Now that we're all constructed, we need to add in the snow, so we're going to follow the process of adding in our snow blocks and then going in with some of these snow pieces to add more dimension. So let's go ahead and add these all over the roof. The amount of snow you add is completely up to you, and it depends on how snow swept you want your village to be. I like to keep a generally even-ish distribution across all of the buildings. So if you've got a lot of snow on all of your other buildings, you want to have a lot of snow on this one too. And if you don't have much snow on your buildings, same goes, you'll have less snow on all of your buildings. I'm just adding the finishing details now with some snow on top of this canopy, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my sign, Miss Joy Holly's Florist and Christmas Trees. Adding signs like these to all of your shops throughout your village is a really fun detail to add, and you can get creative coming up with elf names. Leave your ideas for some elf names below, and it might end up on one of these shops. Let's have a look at some other details that we have going on here. You can see I've gone ahead and added some bauble decorations to my garland, and I'm clicking them so they're rotated on an angle. It just tricks the eye into thinking that they're a bit kind of rounder than they are because they're not set in square with all the other square blocks in the build. I've gone ahead and used red and green using the glazed terracotta and the mushrooms like we have over in the shop window just to tie everything together. And since this florist sells all sorts of flowers, I've put all sorts of flowers in all of the pots. And of course, I've filled up my greenhouse. Coming inside of our greenhouse now, I've placed these glow berries to illuminate it, and I've really filled it up. You can see there's a flower on every single block here. While you're in here, it feels a little bit chaotic, but with all of these colors, when you're out in the snow, it really pops. See, doesn't it look so pretty in there? Our village is really starting to fill up now, but we've still got a bit more to go, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a like, I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Merry Christmas!